Hey everybody, Tom here, and today I want to teach you how to set up a game of Abomination, the Heir of Frankenstein. I'm going to try to get this done by Halloween, but no promises. I have 100 things going on. But why am I saying that? Doesn't matter. Hey, we're going to go ahead and set up this game. And I'm going to point out that as we are setting up this game with really fun, nice, evocative artwork, I like it a lot, I have created a complete do-it-yourself storage solution that I will be showing off. If you are interested in downloading the files or learning more, anything like that, I have a website that I've created. There's a link for that in the description of this video. And so if you want to visit my website, check it out. It'll be fun. Okay, so here we have a rule book, and in my setup videos, I do like to say a word about the rule book. And as is the case with most recent Plaid Hat games, I am not a fan of this rule book. It's like, I don't know what to say. I do like, they have good illustrations and stuff like that, but for some reason for me, with Plaid Hat rule books, I feel like they put things in the most bizarre order that it is so hard for me to follow, and it usually takes me 3 or 4 reads to figure out what's going on. Something very similar happened here, and the problem is that because of the order they put things, they talk about stuff, they use vocabulary that they haven't introduced yet, and that will come up later. So it's just here's one example right here. So they talk about cadaver cards and how you use cadaver cards to get materials, and then they talk about gaining materials and how, I wish that those would flip. And they give you kind of a general here's what happens in the game-ish, but they're very detailed except on the most important, it's just such a unique order. Anyway, again, just a thing for me. I don't love their rule books. I struggle with them, but I'm sure that other people are fine with them, but that's my personal opinion. Okay, so we have this fun letter thing here. So we'll just go ahead and take that out. And Plaid Hat did create, and you can go download it from their website, a variant to help make the game a little bit shorter. And so I have printed that out and I keep it in the box. Okay, what we're going to see here are 4 different player boards. So these player boards you have to construct a little bit. I will point out, a little disappointing because I really do like so many of the components here, that the player boards are on paper, and I imagine that was for cost. We're going to try to keep the cost down, but it is very bizarre to have such a pretty board with dials. How often do you see dials on paper boards? Kind of interesting. In fact, the board is so thin that you had to do 2 layers of cardboard on these dials to make it work. But anyway, I hope this isn't your first video of mine that you're watching. I just want to give you a rundown on my thoughts and components. I like this game. If I didn't like this game, I wouldn't be playing it. But yeah, anyway, there are different player colors here. So green is one of the players, and purple, but of course, I like to play with red and blue. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the red board and the blue board, and we'll go ahead and put those on the appropriate sides. Take these ones out. Okay, we're going to have this beautiful, I really do like this game board. It's very cool looking. Really good art. Let's see if you can see it. They added some gloss on a bunch of the spaces, so that's really fun. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this board. Okay, so this is a board of Paris, I believe we're at. And so we're going to go ahead and open it up here and lay that out. All right. We're also going to have this round tracking board, and the rule book says to put this at the top of the board. We will not have space there, so I think we should put the round tracker probably here. I think will be the best place. And then that's all of the stuff that comes with there's components, but these are my personal storage solution things. So these boxes don't come with the game. They're things that I've designed and I've created do-it-yourself style kinds of things. So the first thing we've got here are 4 different player boxes. I tried to be a little clever. So we have a red and a blue one, and try to make it, a little thematic. There's a list of the components I keep in here. I'm going to talk more about these. I may have made a controversial decision in how I made these boxes. I'll discuss that just so that you're aware. And we're not using green or purple. But we are going to need these other boxes that I will show you a little bit closer in a minute. But I do want to get the other stuff out of the way. All right, where should we start? Let's start here. So one of these boxes, I tried to make it look fun, like a briefcase, and I have a list of all of the contents here, but we're just going to go ahead and open this up. This is the human organs for transplant box, and again, contents list here. But essentially, these are all of the different kinds of cubes you're going to be trying to collect during the game in order to build your monster. So I'm probably just going to reach and just take these out, and I'll just have these off to the side here-ish. And, oh, you can see I've labeled each box with the thing that the cubes represent. So the blue cubes are organs, blood, bone, oh, they're off screen now, I think. Brown is muscle. And then we're going to have yellow animal matter. So we've got those. The game comes with 8 dice. They don't fit in a tray, but they do fit snugly right there. So we're just going to take those out and put them somewhere. We have a first player token and a captain token. I'm going to go ahead and put the first player token with the blue player because they're going to start us off. And the captain token is just going to go on this round marker on round 1. Obviously in a normal game, probably standing up. But where we're doing overhead camera work, we're going to go ahead and lay him down. Okay, and then I made this box large enough that it will hold some player aids. And so there are 2 player aids per person, and they're double-sided. And so probably my plan is to just grab 4 of these player aids and just put them on the table somewhere that I can reference rather than having them next to each player. So, like, here's what I mean. So this aid has a start a monster part on one side, and then they have a complete a monster part on the other side. Just for easy reference, I'm just going to go ahead and grab the same card, but we're going to flip it, and I don't know. I got to figure out where those are going off camera. Probably there. And you're not even looking. It doesn't matter. I'm just putting them off camera. And then this is a round order tracker. And then this will just kind of remind you of what the different icons state. So I'm just going to go ahead and put those off camera for now so that I can move the camera over to them during the video and learn from them. But we've gone ahead and emptied that. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Let's open up this box. This has different markers and franks. And so we're just going to go ahead and peel that open. Oh, again, there's a contents list there on the bottom. Hopefully I didn't just mess that up. Yeah. And let's see. So the francs are money. They're your coins. And I just made this long box for those. So we're just going to keep these nearby, probably here up by the organs. And then we're going to have these markers here. These are just different event markers and police markers. I'm going to keep those close to the round tracker board because they're going to have to do with things that happen each round. And then there are these bonus objectives. There are 6 of them. You need to randomly choose 4 of them. So we'll just kind of, whatever, mix these up. Pick 4, 1, 2, 3. And these are going to go down here on the bonus objectives spot. So the order doesn't matter. We're just going to lay them down. I think I'm still on camera. Yeah, so those 4 just go down there. And then also, this box is going to hold something called the bump track. If you have 4 players, you just use the one that's printed on the board. 3 players, you'd use this side. We're obviously doing 2-player, so we're just going to lay that down there at the bottom. Now, we're going to get into some of my controversial decisions, but basically, this game comes with 5 different heads, 5 torsos, 5 right arms, 5 left arms, 5 legs, and 5 of each kind of leg. So I guess my controversial decision is I think that in a normal game you would just have a general supply of all of these body parts and a general supply of a whole bunch of other tokens you're going to see. Rather than creating a storage solution that holds all of those tokens, there's so much going on. As a general supply, I've basically divided out everything for the maximum number any player could use. So for example, the maximum number of heads any player is going to use is 1. So each of my player boxes already has a head. But there are 4 player boxes and 5 of each body part. So I just have the spare body parts in this box in case somebody wants to exchange out heads. They do look slightly different, but I just mix those up and put them among the player boxes so that they're within easy reach. This game has like a big footprint, and I just feel like having to reach for different body parts and different tokens was going to be frustrating. So anyway, you'll see more of that later, but for the spare body parts, I'm just going to keep them in there. Now we have different decks of cards. This is going to be like our events. That's going to take a little bit of thinking. We'll look at that in just a second. And here are a whole bunch of location cards. I know that doesn't look great. I've fixed it on the PDF. But these are smaller cards, and they all have a back that looks similar to this, and they go for various locations. So we're just going to go ahead and crack this open. And we're going to look at this huge stack of cards that look very similar, but they do have different locations listed. The first thing you're going to want to do, I just slurred. The first thing you're going to want to do is find from the public square cadaver, that's what's listed there. You're going to want to find Leopold the Vast. Now, I've only played this one time in preparation for this video, and I haven't come across him. And so I imagine that this is just set aside because I think it has to do with storytelling aspects of the game. But basically, you're going to just take Leopold and put him off to the side for now. I don't know, we'll put him there. Next, we kind of want to take each location, shuffle them up, and let's get them near their places, and then each location kind of does something different. So what I mean by that is, okay, so I've got a whole bunch of hospital cards here. So let's just go ahead and take the hospital cards. You're going to want to find the hospital on the board, and essentially these, for the most part, these decks of cards are going to go off the board near that location. So for example, the hospital deck is going to go right above. Here's the hospital location, but you can kind of see an outline here. And the way the hospital location is going to work is you're going to draw one hospital card for each player. So in a two-player game, what we're going to do is we're just going to take the top two off the stack, and those will flip right side up like that, and the rest of those cards will be here. Okay, so that's going to be unique about the hospital. You keep the pile face down over there and draw one card for each player. Those go face up. All right, let's see. What else is here? We've got our public square cards. All right, so these are cadaver cards. Most of these piles are cadaver cards, but not all of them. I'll point them out when they're not. Public square cards, give them a shuffle. They're going to go off the board. Let me put it here, and you don't draw any. It looks like you draw two, but you actually are going to wait for there to be some cadavers produced in the public square. So shuffle those face down near the board. Next up, we have the cemetery. So here's our cemetery cards. Let's just grab those. And obviously, especially after you've played the game, setting up is a little more intuitive. Just because each deck does something different. Like, right, the public square we shuffled, face down off the board, don't draw anything. Hospital, face down off the board, draw one per player. Cemetery, you're going to shuffle, keep them face down because these bodies are buried, so we don't know who's here. And that actually goes directly on the board for the cemetery. Okay. Next up, looks like I have some humanity cards at, I don't know how to pronounce this, St. Roch. I'm sure that's a famous place that I should know, and I totally don't. But what we're going to do is take these cards. These are humanity cards. They're going to go down here. Again, the locations are labeled on the board, so you just have to pinpoint them. And the icon on the back of the card matches the building. But these are going to get shuffled. The deck goes off the board. And then you do draw two cards in every game. No matter how many players, two cards go here, one per each spot. Okay, we're going to keep working our way through this. Next up, we have the Academy. So the Academy, let's see, keep going. Stops right there. Now the Academy is going to have some research. Oh man, I'm going to run out of space. That's okay. We're going to do the best we can. I'm going to have to move some stuff around. But we got the Academy shuffled. And that goes off the board, kind of like the St. Roch or whatever that's called. Academy, you're going to put off the board, but then you're going to flip the top two, and those go like that. Now the morgue is going to be a little bit different. And again, the rule book will spell this all out. It's a little hard to find the information, of course, as I've kind of mentioned about the rule book in general, but all of these things are listed there. You just have to find it. So the morgue gets shuffled. Here's what I'll say about the rulebook with setting up. If you don't know how to find, here's the best way I found to find this information. You kind of, rather than reading through stuff, pinpoint the thing you're looking for here. So like, for example, what is I doing now? The morgue. So if you pinpoint the morgue, it says 4A, and then you reference 4A. Where I think usually people might find the information in the rules and go back up. But you can pinpoint all of these pieces of information by looking at the picture first and then bringing you down this way. Okay, I'll be fair in that way. All right, so the morgue, you actually shuffle up, and without looking at them, you're actually going to place this deck face up. You can always see the top card, but not the one that's underneath it. These go face up right there in the morgue. And now we are at the docks. These are the scoundrels. I believe this is our last bunch of cards. So just give that a quick shuffle. And, oh, it's going to have to go over here. Sorry, red player. And we're just going to go ahead and put that there. And kind of like the other non-cadaver cards. So like the cadaver cards each have their own rules, but then the research, or the humanity, and the research and the scoundrel cards all kind of follow the same pattern of set the piles off the deck. Sorry, off the board, and then you're going to draw one per open space there. Okay, let's see. Oh, these are the two bonus things that we're not using. I'm just going to remove those. I should have removed them before. Next up, we need to set up our 12 event and encounter cards and pick our characters. So we're going to go ahead and open this up. So in this deck, I have 3 different kinds of cards: event, encounter, and characters. So we're going to kind of sort those out. Character cards look like this. They have a portrait and then like 4 spaces that look like that. And so let's go ahead and we're just going to assign one per player. And I know that there are characters that the rule book says don't use these the first time you play. And so I need to remember who those are. Well, here, let's shuffle and assign out randomly and let's check. Okay, so blue player and red player. I feel like that's where I started. Doesn't matter. Okay, something like that, and just double checking again in the rule book here. It just recommends down here at the bottom, where is it? It says pick a character. Oh, let's do that trick. 13A. It says for your first few 2-player games, we suggest not using Prisha or Baptista. I don't think I picked those. Nope, we're good. All right. Okay, so I think what we're going to do, I'm going to swap these. I said blue and red, but look at their clothes. We're going to make this blue and that red. We're going to play with Marie and Anita. Okay, so let me just hand those to each player. We'll get the player boards set up momentarily. And then you're going to have this event cover card. That's the creature, the monster. So just put that to the side for now. And then you're going to have encounter cards, and there's a front and a back. You're going to see the front side will say like rounds 1 through something, and then the back side will be the higher numbers, so whatever. But essentially, the encounter cards will either have, I think that's the captain or the monster on the side. So those are encounters. And then event cards kind of have skulls like that. And so those are those cards. And I really should have put this on the box because I always have to look in the rule book. But essentially we need some encounters and some events, and I can never remember. It's 4 of one, 6 of the other. Let's see. So we need 6 events and 4 encounters. And then we're going to shuffle those, and then we're going to need 2 more events to go on top. So without looking, we needed, wait, crap, I just forgot. I literally just looked at it. Come on, Tom. Yeah, it was 6 events and 4 encounters. So here are the encounters. We're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And then we needed 6 events. So we'll just give those a quick shuffle. And we're going to need, well, actually, we're going to need 6 and 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm not looking at them. And then we're going to have 2. Okay. And basically what happens here, we're done with the other cards. The 10 cards you've set aside, we're going to shuffle those up. So again, I'm really not looking at these. Hope I'm on camera. Okay, so we shuffle those 10 cards. And then, I mean, you can kind of mix up these 2 cards if you want. Mix those up. These are going to go on top over here, and then cover that stack with these cards. So there's 12 rounds, and now there's 12 cards under this card here. Okay, so we've got that. That is the main play area. So let's go get our player board stuff set up. And if you're new to my channel, this will be new to you, but if you're not new, you've seen this before. I always like to put colored papers underneath the play areas for the different players, just to really emphasize which player it is. I know the player color is showing here and in our meeples, but as the camera is going to be moving around quite a bit, it's just nice, I think, to have a pop of color. So we're just going to go ahead and do a little something like that, just so, again, as the camera moves around, when we're here, we know it's the blue player. We're just going to put their character card here-ish. And here's our first player marker. And first thing I'm going to have us do is set the dials. So our humanity always starts at 0. There's a little diamond there to remind you of that. Our reputation starts at 1. And our expertise starts at 1. Except that with Marie, we're actually going to begin the game with our expertise set at 2 instead of at 1. Okay, now let's open up the player box of Wonder. Again, there's a list of all of the components here, and as I mentioned before, with the exception of these meeples, for the most part, I think that people keep these in a general supply, but I just think it's a little easier to go this way, so that's what I've decided to do, and if you like it, you can make it yourself. I do have a components list here, but essentially, as part of that components list, there's a reminder here that we're going to start with 1 of our 4 scientists, and we're going to start with 2 of our 3 assistants. And it says down here, well, we're going to use our score marker, but also we're going to start with 1 franc, that's the coins, per player. So in a 2-player game, we're going to start with 2 of those. I'll grab that. But I mention that because for the most part, this is all general supply stuff that I'm just trying to keep nearby. But as it said, we're going to start with 1 scientist and 2 assistants. I'll grab the money here in just a second. But everything else is stuff that we're going to be gaining as time goes on. Now I mentioned that I do have the body parts, and they're listed here: a head, 2 arms, a torso, and 2 legs. And I've kept those at the bottom. Here's my score marker. Let's grab that. Just for ease of gameplay, and because they are the funnest part, I'm just going to go ahead and grab those body parts out. And we're going to keep the body parts on this side over here. There we go. Okay. And there are different types of body parts. I think there is a matching torso and legs and stuff, but I just mix them all up for fun. And we've got our head. There's muscle side and skin side to all of these parts. A little creepy. We'll just keep it like that for our visual pleasure. And everything else I'd just like to keep right there in the box so that when you need them, you can fish through the box and find whatever you need. As I mentioned, things are going to get a little bit crazy. Oh, I don't know where to put this. In terms of reaching the board. So this will just make things a little easier within reach for each player. Okay, so we've set our dials appropriately. We've pulled out our meeples. We've got our first player marker. These things are set to the side for the blue player. Oh, we do need to add our score marker to the board. Of course, we're going to start at 0 points. There is a 100 here. In case you go all the way around the board, you can flip that. But for now, we'll just put that at 0. And as I mentioned, each player in a 2-player game starts with 2 francs, 2 money. In a 3-player game, everyone starts with 3, and so on. All right, now that all the talking is done, let's see if we can burn through the red player. Let's get our paper set up. Something like that. Looks nice. Raise it a little bit. And we've got our character card right here. Try to avoid the main deck stuff. This is quite the table hog, I tell you. Okay, crack this open. Same components, except we do have some red. Oh, I have a mistake here that I will fix. I need to fix that. All right, and then we need 1 scientist, and we need 2 assistants. So the assistants are the smaller ones. And we'll pull those out. When I see my score marker, I'm going to need that. There it is. I'll just put that on the board now. And, while I'm thinking about it, let's start with 2 francs. And this character is actually going to gain an additional franc, but we'll talk about that in the gameplay video. And then I'm just going to go ahead and peel up the body parts. I suppose if I was smart, I would have laid the body parts on top of everything else, but I'm not that smart. Okay, here we go. Get this here. Yep, okay, the rest of that is general supply. Here's our body parts right there. General supply. And, set our dials. Okay, so this dial needs to go to 0. That starts at the 1. And that one's going to start at 1 as well. Okay, Anita is ready to go. And there we go. I have the camera as high up as it's going to go, so we just can't see that much with the individual players. But we are officially done setting up Abomination. So if you're interested in seeing how Abomination is played, I'm going to be teaching how this game is played and playing an entire playthrough. Just click on the link in the description of this video if you're interested. Again, if you're interested in these board game crafts or any of my other do-it-yourself storage solutions, find my website. I actually just barely bought a domain name. It's very exciting. So you could just go to tomteachesgames.com. It should take you there. Easy to remember. Bookmark it. Come visit me often. That'd be cool. Anyway, yeah, we're going to go ahead and play this game. So I'm going to stop talking. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the gameplay video. Talk to you later. Goodbye.